Welcome to the NinjaSport UK podcast. This podcast is brought to you in conjunction with the UKOCR and British Obstacle Sports. NinjaSport UK is a collection of the most recognisable athletes from Ninja Warrior UK, as well as some of the series' most ardent superfans. Our aim is to get as many people trying ninja sports in the UK as possible. In this podcast, we're celebrating the return to screens of Ninja Warrior UK Race for Glory. We'll be talking to contestants from each of the episodes, as well as some special guests to get their experiences of training and competing in this fantastic new format. So, grab a drink, sit back and relax for the NinjaSport UK podcast. Here's your host, Matt Gupwell. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to episode 3 of the Ninja Warrior UK podcast. This gets better and better every week. Every week I wonder who next, and this week it's gone up a level. If anyone watched the show this Saturday, it had everything. It had high drama, it had high stakes, and it had possibly the biggest loving I've ever seen on a Ninja Warrior course in my life. And we have got 4 of the most incredible athletes involved in making that show as epic as it was right in front of us. So, in no particular order, we have Danny Morgan, the priming coach. We have Henry Cookey Monster, and we have the ninja couple themselves. We have Alix Arnt and Nigel Leeming, all of whom you will have seen, and I couldn't be happier. Guys, thank you very much for joining me. Are you all okay? Yes?
Yeah,
yes.
Thank you, good.
Oh man, this is so cool. This is so very cool. Look, I'm even celebrating it. I've even got my own ninja mug. That's just so I can say I was on the show once.
Nice.
Yeah, don't tell the branding. So, listen, it's an absolute pleasure to have you all. And Saturday's episode was it was something else. Yeah. I mean, the first 2 episodes of this new series, Race for Glory, have been fantastic. But this just blew me away, really. So, first of all, before we get into it, I'd like you to introduce yourselves as if we've never met. Now, I know that's a bit of a stretch because we know each other all very well and we've trained together for years and years, but Danny, I'm going to start with you because I'm habitual and you're top left. So tell me about you on the spot now. Who are you? Where are you from? What's the day job? How on earth did you get into Ninja? And how have you found it so far?
Yeah, you said my name already. So Danny Morgan, 30, originally from Southampton, moved to Surrey, stupidly, because it's in the middle of nowhere and there's nowhere to train. How did I get into Ninja was the first question. I guess I'm not too sure about everybody else, but it's just trying to find that thing that's just a little bit of uncertainty in your day. And everything in training, I believe everything in these commercial gyms is quite 2D, is quite sagittal. And I'm always trying to look for something that's a little bit outside the box, and I think Ninja ticks that box entirely. So, yeah.
Okay. So you're looking for something a bit different to the normal gym. How'd you go from that to realising you might be a bit good at it, to realising or thinking I might be good enough to get on the show? Where does that process happen?
I don't think the thought ever crossed my mind is I'm good enough to go on a show, but the thought definitely crossed my mind that there's a lot of transferable skill from anything I've done, and I've kind of been a jack of all trades, master of none in anything I've done. I've not really been great at anything, but I've not really been rubbish.
All right, so what have you been rubbish at? And I think you're being modest because I've seen you. So what have you done before?
Just anything and everything you can think of, like wakeboarding, surfing, just basic gym, rugby, everything. And if I get okay at stuff and I get good at stuff, I get bored. And Ninja's definitely something that humbled my ass. Like the first time I got on the series, I wasn't great. I was just okay.
So remind me, that was series 3?
Series 3, yeah.
Yeah,
series
okay.
3.
Talk to me about series 3 then.
Series 3 was just completely, it was so uncomfortable. It was so out of my zone. And I actually believe I was doing a charity event at the time. I was training to ride up to Scotland and back. And I got a call when I got to Edinburgh. I got the call to say you're on the show. So I had to get straight from Edinburgh to Manchester. And I was so.
Are you joking?
No, it's the truth. I was cycle fit. I think I was like 75 kilos. And I was just straight out of spandex, straight into Ninja Warrior, and that was it. So
wow.
I asked for it. I got to be careful what I asked for, and it happened. So yeah.
Fair enough. Well, listen, it's amazing that you came back for this one. We'll talk about your episode and your runs later, but thank you for joining me on the podcast. It's so good to see you, man. And now I'm going to jump down. Henry, mate.
Hello.
Oh, dude, I don't know how long I've known you now. It's been too long, and we've trained together, and it's always a pleasure, and you always astonish me. Mate, it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. But for anyone that doesn't know you, please give us the background. Start from the beginning. What did you start in? What was your history in sport? What have you achieved? And how does it then end up owning a ninja gym?
Yeah. So my story, well, go back. My name's Henry Cookey. I'm from Liverpool, and I'm a ninja gym owner. There you go. There's your bit there. So my story is actually like really, really, really long. So I'm going to give you the short, condensed, really quick one.
Henry, can I just wait a minute? Sorry, there's a weird someone on the waiting room. Sorry, I don't know who's coming. I'm only supposed to have you four. Bear with me a minute.
It's Tim Sheep.
No, it's definitely not Tim Sheep.
Ben Shephard.
Hi
guys.
Hi, Ben.
What can I say? If you give us the best episode so far, I have to give you the host with the most. Ben, thank you so much for doing this.
My pleasure. My pleasure. England have just equalised.
No way.
This is big news.
Oh,
Two,
wow.
Oh, really?
Alex is 2-2 against the Germans.
Way.
Oh
Ben-
no! Don't worry, the Germans will catch up soon and overtake. I reckon.
Now, look, you two. Stop with the competition. It's supposed to be friendly banter. I saw you trying to steal his microphone, and we'll come on to that later as well. So Ben, forgive me. I will come back to you in a minute, Ben. Henry, do you mind if I just talk to Ben very briefly?
Go
Ben,
for it, mate. Go for it. He's more famous than me, so.
Come on, not at all. Ben, listen, thank you for joining the podcast. This is episode 3. And the reason I really wanted to get you this week was because this Saturday's episode was about as epic as I think it could possibly get. It made for great television, but everyone you see here, as I'm sure you will agree, played a massive part in some of the best Ninja Warrior TV in a long, long time. And it really came through that you and Rochelle and Kammy were so invested in all of the stories. So how was it as an episode for you? I know it gets edited really well, but did you enjoy all the races, and were you as on the edge of your seats as you looked?
We look, every record that we do, and you guys have been there, so you all know firsthand how long it takes to make an episode, right? You all make a huge commitment. Viewers at home get a small taste of the view.
Yeah.
That's the so just out of respect for what you lot commit to, the tension, the crowd, the nerves, the stopping, starting, doing it again, all those bits and pieces. It's always full on, and whenever the races start, we find actually you guys, and you'll know this as soon as you get to actually take on the course, it's a relief, I guess, because you can finally release the nervous anxiety and tension and get started, whether you're taking on someone else or whether you're being chased by a ninja. And that's we see that and we can feel that. And me and Kammy, for us up on the tower, it's incredible watching you take on the course, because all we want is for you guys to do the best you can possibly do. We're just desperate for you lot to fulfill your potential, because you know how hard you will train, whatever that might be, to be there. And then bless her, we don't see Rosh. It's only in the edit that we see Rochelle trying to chase you down the course, and she's absolutely shattered. The amount of steps that girl has to do in her team, chasing all you lot up and down the course. Fortunately for me and Kammy, we're too old, so we just have to stand still and scream and shout at the TV. But the feedback we're getting from viewers, when Kammy and I were recording we do the voiceovers together on a Friday, and we're going again. I think I'm seeing him this Friday as well for the shows. So we get a little taste of what's coming up, and we're always just so excited to see it come together, and for to know that the viewers are going to get a chance to watch it, because we're just thrilled. We're thrilled to bits that we've been able to do it again, and that you guys have had that chance to come and take on the course, because it's the best playground in the world, isn't it? There's very few places where you get to actually really push yourselves to the limit, and sort of, so it's for us to be the ringmasters of that is a privilege.
That's so nice hearing you say that. I'm sure everyone here would agree. The one thing I think that I've always taken from it is how passionate you and Kammy particularly are. You know so much about everyone. And I know we see a lot of Kammy, particularly at the Ninja Warrior parks now. And we've been, a lot of the openings, and we speak to you guys a lot. But the enthusiasm and the knowledge, and I think the recognition, and you just touched on it, the recognition that you have for how hard everyone that makes it to the show has trained, particularly when we're talking about the people that maybe the weight of expectation on their shoulders. It's fantastic just to hear it in your voices and to see how genuinely excited you are. So in a minute, we'll touch on a couple of the races, if that's all right, from this weekend, because they were special. But if it's all right with you, Henry, can I jump back to you? Where were we? You're from Liverpool.
Before I was so rudely interrupted. Where was I? I was only at the start of the story anyway, wasn't I?
Yes.
So Henry from Liverpool, own a Ninja gym. So so as I was saying, I'm going to condense my story down as small as I can. So I started Taekwondo when I was about 14. First competition I did, won the British Championships. Long story, never started Taekwondo, worked as a chemical engineer, quit that because someone said I had a chance to go to the Olympics, trained my ass off full time, didn't get picked for the Olympics, and then we fast forward to 2016, which is when I didn't get picked. I'm watching Ninja Warrior season 2. It was season 2. And I was like, yeah, this is awesome. I love that. And I'm watching it with my missus, and I'm seeing people fall off. And I'm doing that cliche thing. It's like, oh, what's he doing there? How's he falling off there? I'd well have smashed that. And she must have just got sick of me. And she's gone, why don't you just go on the show yourself and show everyone that you can do it? And I was like, well, obviously you've got to get selected to do that. Someone's got to ring you up. You can't just walk on the show. And as if it was fate, literally as I said that, the advert came on saying, do you think you've got what it takes? Apply now. And I was like, well, I've got to apply now, haven't I? So, I went for it. I put my application in. And I thought, I'm fit, I'm strong, Taekwondo fighter. I was like fresh off like a training for the Olympics. So I was in really good shape. So I thought this will be easy, this will be a breeze. Get on the very first heat. As soon as I stepped on the first, the floating steps, I was like this is hard. I'm scared. That water looks cold. Everything I was doing was so hard. My hands were sweating. I was like, this is so much harder than it looks. So much harder. But I managed to get through the course on the first heat. It took me a very long time, but I did it. I got through. And then I absolutely loved that. From that moment on, after that first heat, I was hooked. Absolutely hooked. Got into the semi. I did all right in the semi. I got to the second half of the course, but I fell off. I wasn't even, obviously, I wish I did better, but I wasn't bothered at all. I was in. Ninja had me, it sounds really cliche, but Ninja literally changed my life. From that point on, all I wanted to do was Ninja. I was looking everywhere for where I could train Ninja. Couldn't find anywhere. I was planning on opening a gym, just a normal weightlifting gym. I got put off the idea when I saw Easy Gym charge, well, no brand names here, but just actual gyms charging next to nothing. So I decided going off that idea. But as soon as I won a Ninja Warrior, I was like, right, I want to build a Ninja gym. I want a gym where people come and do Ninja stuff. I want to do it all the time. Other people are going to want to do it. Let's do it. Let's get someone to train. So I started doing my research, put a business plan together, found a venue, found a location, scraped together every single penny that I had, borrowed a load more pennies, put in an application for a business loan, got the loan, and bang, went for it. Had no idea what I was doing, no idea about how to run a business or how to start one up. And I just kind of went for it. And luckily I'm still here now. The gym's growing, still here, so really happy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you know, there's parts of that I actually still never knew. I'm even more astonished, Henry. That's amazing. And now you've become, you can be as modest as you want, but a little bit of Ninja royalty, because you've done it all. You've run the course, you've tested the course, you own a gym, you host competitions. I mean, you're all over it, and you are, we said it on the advert for your comp last week, you are one of the most recognisable faces. And I think you said something in your VT for this episode about I may look big, but I can perform like a young. I can't remember what it was, right? But you're so right. You are living proof that there is no ninja shape.
Yeah, that's one of the motivating things for me, because a lot of the people that I speak to that don't know ninja, they go, "Oh, look at the size of you! You can never do that." Everyone that does it, their whippets, there's no weight to them. So like that makes me think, no, I need to do it now. I need to show them that I can do it. I need to show that I can be fast.
Yeah, and talking about lightweights being really good at performance, I'm going to come to Nigel now, because Nigel, again, you and I have got a history, because I first came to your gym to train when I was trying to get onto the show, and you were very kind enough to show me everything. But genuinely, you are another one of those contestants who, you just astonish me. Every time I see something on Instagram, every time I see what you're training, you're 59 now. You haven't turned 60 yet, have you?
Yeah.
And look at you. You are like Superman. If I am anywhere near your performance, so tell me, what's your background? Give us the summary of Ninja Nigel.
I started off in school doing gymnastics. I did that for years and years. After that, I went to college and got into climbing, and after that I was absolutely hooked on climbing, and all I did was climb. My whole personality was a dirtbag climber. Used to go
technical
to the
term,
all the time,
right.
climbing the lakes.
Dirtbag climber.
Dirtbag climber, yeah.
Okay.
All over Northumberland. Lived in Northumberland at the time, and then I climbed for probably at least a decade. Probably 15 years, and then I went to live in London and gave up climbing because there was no climbing in London, so I took up martial arts. I did Samtu Dang, Taekwondo, did Judo. After that I got into more soft martial arts. I did Tai Chi, Bagua and stuff like that. And then I got bored with all that and started climbing again.
Okay, as you do.
Well, I kind of got in with the parkour boys in Cambridge when it all kicked off, and that really got me back into climbing, because we used to meet once a week at the climbing wall. So I started off climbing again because I couldn't jump. I was useless at parkour, and I just really got into climbing again and started competing and started doing well in competitions. And that's pretty much all I've done since. And then I was a super fan of Sasuke. So when Sasuke came along, I used to watch that and think, if we could just get this in the UK, it would be fantastic. And then we got it, and up came season 1, so I applied for that. And I had loads of stuff in the garden anyhow I was training on. And that was a fantastic opportunity to do that. It was such a blast. I mean, we hadn't done it before. It was all brand new. Pretty much nobody had a clue what was going on. We all just turned up. The scale of it, you just cannot understand how big this stuff is, because we all train on scaffold bars, and we do little lashes and little jumps and little swings, and we look at the technical things we can do. We get on the course. It's just huge. It is so huge. The jumps are massive, the swings are massive, the dismounts are massive, and really that started me off with the ninja stuff. And obviously I opened the Ape Index in Leicester, and then a few of us went off. Alix and I went. Dion went. Who else went to America?
Can't remember, but we all went to the National Ninja League thing, and there we had the next show.
Yeah, the National Ninja League we did, and it was all about speed. We were all about how tough can we make these courses, and the National Ninja League was how fast can you go. And they set us off on this qualifier course. They showed us all around this qualifier course. It went on and on and on forever. And he goes, your qualifying time is, and we're all like, oh God, 5 minutes, 90 seconds. So it's like, well, here we go. And I remember hurling myself around this course as fast as I could possibly go. I had 3 obstacles left, and he said, 10 seconds remaining. And somehow I managed that course I had 0.1 seconds to spare. And after that, it was okay, we've got to go fast. But I'm not a fast athlete. I'm a climber. Slow, ponderous.
Yeah.
careful climber, and translating that into the ninja world is really, really hard work mentally to try and get my legs, my arms to go fast. But really, in my heart, I'm still a climber. I've been out climbing all day today. I've got a competition coming up next week. I've got another competition the week after that. And it's just climbing for me now. And obviously, Henry's running all these competitions, which is why he's rubbish, because he's running all these competitions for everybody else.
Can't see what was doing under the screen.
He doesn't get to compete. It's true. He doesn't get to compete.
The problem
giving us it all.
He had the curse of the Kammy, because Kammy just kept telling me how amazing Henry's going to be. He's my pick. And everybody knows, as soon as Kammy says, you're the one who's going to win it, it's all over.
Did he jinx me as well, then?
No, to be fair, he didn't jinx you, Alex, because you were awesome.
That's true.
You were awesome, Alex.
All the way through. You didn't make any...
We'll see about it.
Right, Alex, then, you were, but tell me your history. Where does it all start for you, then?
Okay, my history will be very, very brief. My name is Alix Arnt. I'm 43 years old, and I represent the average mother of 2 children. Because different to all these boys here, I have got absolutely no sporting history. The minute I left school, I did no sports. And when I was 35, 36, that's when my friend saw Ninja Warrior on telly. And knowing that I win every mother's race in school, she went, Alex, I've seen this program on telly. You've got to apply. You're going to love it. Because admittedly, even though I did no competitive sports ever, in the playground, I would potentially be the mother that's swinging on the monkey bars. The one that gets the ball back out the tree. And my friend said, you got to apply for the show. I hadn't seen the show. Sorry, Ben. Sorry, ITV. I hadn't seen the show myself. She sent me the link for the application. I applied and I sent her the email where it says, thank you for registering your interest. I sent her that back and went, look at me. Next thing, you're invited to the auditions. I was a bit taken aback by that, thinking I knew it was a sporting show, but I hadn't seen it. So I then went online, and it wasn't on YouTube, but I watched a few versions of Sasuke. And I sat there, and the first thing I did, I burst out laughing and said to my friend, you must be nuts. However, it took my interest, I do admit. So then I went to the auditions thinking, I'll go to the auditions, check out what you're meant to be able to do, and I'll go on next year. I didn't understand the process. I understood nothing about it. I came back from the auditions thinking, there were boys there that were way better than me. Next thing I get a phone call, Alex, you're on the show. And I said to the lady on the phone, she said, you don't sound very excited. And I said, I don't know how I feel about that. I had a couple of weeks, I don't know how many weeks, but very few. And my reaction to that was I went on Amazon and bought a climbing rope. And that's all I did for the next 3 or 4 weeks was climb up and down that rope in the garden. And that's pretty much my ninja career until I went on season 2. And as you saw on the show on Saturday, I fell off the spinning log, which was on that whole course the obstacle I felt most confident about.
Oh, no.
But it is exactly like others say, when you actually get there and see the sheer size of it, all of a sudden you think, actually, you could fall off it. And the second you think that, it's going south and you fall off. Really hooked on the sport. I got not so much on the show because I obviously had this fantasy that you could go on the course before or after. I want to make that completely clear to all the viewers. There is no goes before or after or anything. The only go you have is when the camera is running. So I was really disappointed with that because it's like a big kids playground. I wanted to have a go. So one of the other competitors that was in the same episode as me, I saw on his Facebook he was going to the ninja competition. So I went along to that, and that was the first time I went there. Nigel was there. I don't know what Henry was there. I don't know. But anyway, all I did, I stood in this competition with my back to the wall and watched all these boys do their magic. But it didn't put me off, right the opposite. It got me hooked. I thought, well, maybe that is actually possible to do it. And then I started training from there, a bit of anything, really. Anybody invited me along to anything, running, swimming, ninja, climbing,
Wow.
I'll be up for it and go, yep, I'll have a go. And I hope I got better since season 2.
Oh, please. You hope you got better. We watched the episode. Right, now, let's talk some runs here. First of all, Alix, while we're on the subject of did you get better, let me just ask Ben about this, because your reaction and your introduction to Alix, I think, said everything. I think you called her Ninja royalty, and you sort of referenced how well respected she was, but it sounded like there wasn't a shred of doubt in your mind that she wasn't going to put on a show. Were you still, however, seriously impressed by just the composure?
I think, well, I mean, the point that Alix just made there, and I think Henry said before, or maybe it was Nigel, you can't, very often if you walk into a TV studio, people will say, oh, it looks much bigger on television, right? When you walk into the Ninja studio, the arena, people go, oh my God, it's bigger than it looks on television. It's an absolute mind-blowing experience to see the scale of this. So even though we know Alix's pedigree, we know how great she's going to be, there is always that concern, and the boys will be able to attest to this, that something could go wrong along the way. The smallest thing, the slightest miscalculation, a little slip. It's those, it's the agility obstacles that often come, when no one's expecting it, someone will take a tumble on a spinning log or the balls or whatever it is. So whenever anybody sort of gets to the top of the wall or finishes the run, it's always impressive. It's just the style which she does it. She's so composed. She's so strong. She's so agile. And somehow I think half the battle, and this has come about, we've come to understand this from series 1. Half the battle for a lot of you guys that have got experience isn't the course itself. It's your own sort of tension. It's your own sort of calmness. It's about sort of just taking each step of the cut, letting the flow happen. Because if you can get into your flow, you're not thinking about the next obstacle. You're just letting your body do what it does day in, day out when you're all training. Because I know how hard you all train. And I think that's what Alix did so brilliantly. It's like she was on the course. She became one with the course. It sounds a little bit Mr. Miyagi. But that's what's impressive, is when you see someone flow across the course and they make it look easy. Because we know it's just not easy. Take aside the physical demands of what you're doing, but actually the pressure with all those cameras. There's something like 16 cameras or whatever it is. There's hundreds of people in the audience. You've got one crack at it, and you've got to beat the person in the race alongside you as well. And that is what's so awesome about, watching Alix on Saturday was, and every time you see her perform, like you just got that sense that there's a calmness about it. She's just going to take on this and she's just going to let it happen. And she's going to see what happens. And that's when it all comes good. When the best performances from any of you guys, from any of the people that take on the course, is when it's kind of like they just make it look easy. That's always the thing. And it's just not flipping easy.
Can I ask a question? You know this. I know you. I don't think you're allowed at the moment anymore. I know you tried it once. Would you like another go? Is it something? Because I know you're not exactly unfit. Would you like a crack?
Yeah, I stand there the whole time wishing I could go and give it another go. And really? So when we first got approached to do it, I said I'm only going to do it for that course. And both Kammy and Michelle said we're only going to do it if you don't make us do the course. So there's this big thing. I'd been a Sasuke fan and I'd watched it for years. And all I'd thought about, the opportunity to do it. And coming and watching Ninja Warrior for the first time changed how I train. I train in a much more calisthenics-based ninja style, sort of, because I watch you lot and I think, God, I want to be able to do that. I want to be that mobile. I want to be that agile. I want to be strong, but I don't want to be sort of, I want to be able to cope, because I'm 47 now. My knees aren't as great. My hips aren't as great. My back's a bit knackered. So I want to be able to sort of move. I want to be able to move like Nigel moves. I just think he's extraordinary watching him move. It's like that sort of flexibility and strength. So the first time I did it, the thing that, so I've got experience, but this is not with an audience there of filming me doing the course. And we did it twice. And my heart has never beat so hard as when I was doing it. Because you've got one crack at it, right? Because even though I'm rehearsing and I want to do this, and I've thought about doing this since I was a teenager, and here I am trying to do it. And the scale of it, and Al, who's the floor manager, sure you've mentioned, Al says, "Okay, Ben, you ready? Right, we're going to go for this in 3 seconds," and then the beeps go. And even though there's no one there, my heart is pounding. And we were doing these sort of quintuple steps at the time. Obviously, that's changed now. And going all the way through and the various obstacles and taking all the advice. And I loved it. And I loved getting up the wall. And I also understand that actually there's a lot of technique involved with these things. So if you get a bit of practice on the obstacles, then you can get better at the obstacles. It's putting that together when you've got a crowd of audience screaming and shouting and there's the pressure of the competition and all that. I stand there now with Kammy and I watch and I think I would love to do this in my head. The reality of doing it are two very, very different things. Like I'd love to have a crack at each of the individual obstacles, right? I'd like to, I'll do that. I'll just go and spend sort of half a day doing that obstacle. I just don't want to do them all at the same time because I know that because in my head, I think, yeah, I could do it. I could get up the wall. But the reality of that is a very, very different thing. I just don't think I'd get probably past the third or fourth obstacle. If I could get to the wall, I'd be impressed. I think getting up the wall, once you've done the wall a few times, I think getting up the wall I can manage. But it's getting past that fifth obstacle, whatever that might be, to get there, I think is a big challenge for somebody. And I don't do ninja stuff enough. The endurance of the grip strength as well. I think my hands would fail me.
I think you do yourself down, Ben, but I know what you mean. If you don't train it all the time like these folks are, yeah, the endurance particularly and the grip and just that ability to, like you say, with Alix, go into a flow state, it doesn't come naturally. So, Alix, what was going through your head on your first run, on your heat? Because you do have this, I was watching it with my wife on Saturday night. She described it as a very steely-eyed look. Just laser focus. Is that how it feels? Or is it all,
No, how it feels is, I mean, Ben has already touched on that subject earlier. For me, it's the waiting before we go on the course is the absolute killer. I have not got the mental capacity to cope with it. I fall apart. If it wasn't for the fellow competitors kind of keeping me on track, I don't want to name them all, but there was plenty that were patting my head and trying to distract me with other stuff because it was going absolutely insane. Then you wait behind by the steps, you go up the steps the other side, and you wait, and I do another take of this and another take of that. And I suffer with anxiety a bit, so this is just building and building. The adrenaline is building, the anxiety sends you mad. As Ben said, once those lights come on, it all washes away because it's just you on the course. I'm not impressed by the cameras or anybody watching. All it is then is just you on the obstacles. You know what you got to do and you want to get to the wall. So I think for me, the waiting is way worse than actually running the course. And my first run, the very worst run, I had absolutely no idea. I was running against Rachel from New Zealand, who was a very lovely girl who very much cheered me up all the way to the starting block. I had no idea where she was. When I got to the buzzer, I hit the buzzer, and the first thing I did up there, I was looking around for her because I didn't even know I'd lost her on the way. For me, it was so bad nerves-wise. If you watch me running the course the first time in my heat with Rachel, I'm pretty white in the face. My mouth is completely dry. I can't do anything until I hit this buzzer, and it there was some kind of relief. It is like Ben said, when you practice it at home and you know you can do it, the pressure a lot of us put on ourselves and we know we can complete it, we want to complete it, is immense. It's extreme. I was much better on my next run with Barclay because at least I had crossed the first course and pressed the buzzer once. So I had proved that I can do it. So for me, mentally, the stress is slightly lower on consecutive runs.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the run was going well. Like I said, I had no idea where Rachel was. I thought she was right. I knew she wasn't in front of me because I couldn't see her, but I thought she was behind me, close-ish behind me, all the way until I hit the buzzer. That's when I realised she wasn't there.
Bless you. Well, I'll talk about your run. We'll talk about Barclay in a minute because you did see some nice things about her. I want to touch on pressure. Sorry, Henry. But at this point, I've got.
Sorry, Henry.
You know I love you, but we've got to bring this in.
I've had to dig myself out of a hole today.
Yeah, no, not at all, right? You come on, and again, you must with all the experience, with all the time you've been on course, you must have felt a weight of pressure. Doesn't matter how experienced you are. What was going through your head behind the scenes when you stand on the start line and before the result? How were you feeling when you started?
So before the race, everyone was I did, like as you say, I did feel a weight of expectation. I felt like I'd done it before, tested the course, got my own gym. I felt like I had to be doing, like, the future of the gym was riding on my performance here. I did feel that, but I didn't really feel like that was getting me down. I didn't really let that get me down. I thought that wasn't really affecting me. I was kind of like, if you see me backstage, I'm laughing, I'm joking about. Obviously, I'm nervous. My belly's doing cartwheels, but like I feel like I wasn't beating myself up or anything. I tried to like relax, try to get on with everyone, make new friends and everything, which is great. By the way, anyone watching, the experience backstage is one of the best places you could ever be anywhere in the world. It's amazing, such a good environment. But anyway, I was absolutely fine. The nerves were there, but they weren't affecting me at all until we got to the stage where we were right, where you're waiting to go up to go onto the stage. Down at the back there, I was at the back. Ruel and Joe were at the back there, and Ben was the guy that I was racing, pacing back and forward, steering look on his face, pacing. I was laughing and joking with Ruel. And then Ruel just said to me, he just goes, "Oh, Ben, you look nervous. Henry, you look like this is nothing. This looks so easy to you. You've been here so many times." Immediately he said that, I went, "Oh." In my head, everything was like, all the pressure just piled down on me. I was like,
"Oh no!"
Put on a brave face, played it because I was like, "Oh, I'm fine. I'm just absorbing all your experience." Walk up the ramp, stomach is twisting. Realise I need the toilet. Can't get to the toilet. Walk up the top of the steps, and then we're at the top, seeing the lights. I'm like, "Oh, how many lights? Is it 3 beeps? Is it 4 beeps? When do I
No.
Look at the course, all the memories of all the like, looking how deep the water looks, how far away everything is. Those shrinking steps are getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and I'm thinking, oh wow, I fully underestimated how hard this was. I forgot how hard this was. And then, like Alex says, as soon as the beeps go boop, 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 clear, gone. All I can think about is the course, obstacle. Don't care about the cameras, don't care about the crowd. Just go for it. And I was loving it. I thought, oh, this is fun. So all I could think about, me and Ben have been talking before, not you, Ben, the other Ben that I was racing against. Yeah. We sort of put it in each other's head that you have to do everything first time. Everything has to be first time. So I'm thinking, this guy, parkour background, Toby's brother, he's got to be good. I can't mess around there. I can't make any mistakes. Everything's got to be first time. So just take the risk, go for it. So I went for everything. First time, I've got a picture, it's so clear in my head. Remember every single hand movement. Flying through, I felt like, I don't know whether I underestimated him or overestimated myself. I thought I was going really, really fast. But every single time I looked, it was right there. Oh my God, he's good. I need to go faster, So I'm going, get to the final obstacle. I made a really good move on the ring toss. And I thought I didn't realise that I'd got ahead of him. I thought he was still neck and neck with me. Get to the rings, it's like, get off the rings, get off quick. Got on the last one. I had a bit of a bicep injury, so I couldn't straight arm it. An excuse, but still, I still should have done better. So I had to do a bent arm. Get to the last one. Instead of swinging back like I should have, I tried to save that extra couple of seconds, thinking it was right on me. Pulled off, flew in, landed on the edge. Didn't quite have enough forward momentum. And then I just went, no! Literally felt myself falling back. That bit happened in slow motion. I'm like, grabbing for something invisible. Not that I've replayed this over and over in my head.
No.
Every day. Got on the platform, landed in the water, and I'm like, no! Look up, expecting to see Ben fly across. And then I didn't see him. I looked back and he'd only just got off the ring test.
No.
I was like, oh God, no. Why didn't I just take that one more swing? Why? And then afterwards, I've just replayed every little thing I could have done differently. There's so many different things. And then watching it again on Saturday, I was like, if only I'd kicked my legs. You do that all the time. Your technique, even if you did want to bend down swing, you could have made it. Land on the platform, just lean forward, grab something. You would have made it. You still had time.
There is something. Watch all of you. I think that, and Danny will probably can attest to this. All of you, if you could go back and do one thing again, it would make a massive difference to your run. You know, whether that's a bit faster here or taking an extra swing there or whatever. And it's the pressure of the moment that you're thinking that Ben's right on your shoulder, actually had a bit more time. You know, so it's amazing for us to stand there and watch it because we know how much you train. And even when, I did it the first year, second year I did it, and I came off on a lâcher to net. And this wasn't even on the show, and I lived that. I replayed that in my head over and over and over and over, what I got wrong, what I should have done. And I've never trained on anything like that. So for you guys, I can only imagine for all of you, like Henry, at that point, I can see you've gone over and over again. What did I do differently? What should I have done that time? And it's agony. The torture of that is absolutely brutal. Really. And all I want is any of you that have come and done it that's why I'm desperate. Me and Kammy and Marsh are desperate for you all to sort of go away satisfied with what you did on that day. Because we know how much you'll torture yourself over the smallest thing that sort of went wrong. That 9 times out of 10, when you're doing it at home in the gym, you do without thinking.
You're right, though. You saying that it is that weight of pressure, but it's when you do it time and time again. And I've trained with all of these folks in the ninja parts and gyms, and they don't do mistakes. They don't get anything wrong. It's all first touch. It's all fluid. So when you do watch the TV and you see it, you know, it must be the same for you on the top of the platform there. I sat there hiding behind my hands thinking, no, because you watch the foot roll and it's kind of like, that's gone. That's gone. But, you know.
But there's those chances, though, Monty. That's the thing. So, Henry, like, we're seeing everything at that point. You're not. You're seeing what's in front of you. So you take the risk. But the amount of you guys, the competitors, that take a chance at a point when they don't need to take the chance, just take one more swing, reach for the second bit of the snapback. You don't actually have to try and launch yourself. Do you know what I mean? Get a little bit further. You will get there if you can just cling on. But I think that's the reality of it. You know you're up against the clock. You know you're chasing someone or you're being chased by somebody. So you have to take those risks, and hopefully the risk pays off. And sadly, you know, for you just weren't quite. I mean, a couple of inches might have been enough, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, but there isn't anyone I've spoken to recording this yet who hasn't echoed what you've just said about the replaying in the mind is if I'd assessed it differently. But I think that's what this new format's done. And you can't deny it's making for great television because you have got supremely talented athletes getting caught up in those decisions. And I think that's what's making it fantastic. Now, I have to talk about, for me, the race of the night here. Danny Morgan and Nigel Leeming, the most unusual loving I've ever seen on Ninja Warrior in my life. I'm told, though, before we go into the race, I've been told to ask you about the little sort of dance or something that you did before that didn't make the cut. There was something you were doing that apparently was... What did we not see?
How could they miss that out? All that planning. That was Danny's great idea. We put it all together. We did it, and it looked great. And it got cut. That's just how it
Nigel, did what? What was it?
I'd like to say ITV should post that on YouTube as a special edition.
I'll get them to dig it out. Danny, remind us.
Keep the suspense for now.
Danny, what was it? Was it
everybody?
No. So I had the idea, because me and Nigel had so much love behind the scenes, I had the idea to just contradict it, and we had this UFC standoff. It's like dead serious, face to face. He was like pressing on my forehead, I was pressing against his, and then we just hugged each other after.
What was that on the start line? Was that?
Yeah, just head to head. He's got a solid head as well.
He's got a solid everything, Danny. Right, okay. So let's see if we can get that dug out. But now talk to me about the race, because again, what a matchup. I mean, there was so much love and so much respect for you. It was evident in the VTs. It was evident in everything. But when you stood there on the course, Nigel, I'll come to you first. What was going through your head? What was your... I know getting to the wall clearly was your ambition, but what was your thought process? Because you've just said you don't consider yourself a speed athlete, and there you are on a head-to-head race.
Well, on the it was a long wait on that day. We got there at 10 o'clock in the morning. We were raced at 7 o'clock at night. So I had 9 hours of nerves, really. I was an absolute bag of nerves that day. Usually I'm kind of okay. I feel it, but I can cope with it. But that day it was just awful. It just went on and on forever. But I was really glad I was drawn against Danny. The last time we'd seen each other was Doug Spence's Backyard Jam, which must have been 4 or 5 years before.
Long time ago.
Long time ago. I couldn't remember who he was.
He remembered just fine who Danny Morgan was.
It was great. It was great. I mean, there was so many athletes there I really didn't want to get drawn against. And when they announced it, they said, "Oh, you're up against Danny," and I thought, maybe I'll be able to keep up a bit, because I knew he hadn't been doing any ninja training for like 4 years. He'd been doing lots of rugby and stuff, and I thought, maybe I'll give it a chance. So, but I tell you, as soon as that race started, I ran up to that second obstacle. The problem is, you see it from way down on the ground. You take you through, and you see it. It's like up there, and you think, I can't tell how far that is. And even when I ran up to it, I mean, my eyes aren't as good as they once were. Then I thought, I still can't see how far it is. So I did this awful double take, and Danny speeds off. And I thought, oh, this is brilliant. And I just thought I want to finish the course.
Right. Okay. And were you paying any attention to how far Danny was ahead? Did you know he was waiting for you, for example?
No, I couldn't see it. I mean, you get lights in your face all the way, so
right.
It's really, really hard to see. I did see him wave when he stood, but I didn't see him miss the wall. The first time I ran up the wall, I didn't see that.
Yeah, no, hold on. We'll come to that.
If I had, I might have gone a bit faster.
So, Danny, you flew. I mean, fluidity in motion, right? It was a fantastic performance. There is that great shot we've circulated on the group where you do look like you could take Superman for a ride. It's a full-on arm out hero pose. It's fantastic. And then you stopped. And it was the nicest thing I've ever seen. Now, 2 questions that came to my mind. Were you told you had to carry on and you couldn't wait? And did you fake the first wall?
No. So
is that real?
Yeah, so the answer to the first question, just beforehand, Nigel said to me that he was very, very nervous right before we started running. And I could see him, he was a well-off character, almost a little bit shaky. And I just remember saying the last thing to him, look, mate, wipe all the pressure off. Let's just have some fun together and let's just enjoy the course. And that's kind of like our last words together before we headbutted each other UFC style. But, I mean, my aim was to go out there and just have fun alongside Nigel. Like you said, I haven't trained for years. I wasn't going to get in my head too much about it. As long as I'd visualised it. Like, in the hotel room, I was obsessed. Like, I knew that these guys have been training ninja way more than me, and I was just playing every single obstacle course over and over and over and over again. And no matter what was going to happen, I was just going to have fun regardless. And somehow it just paid off just by magic. Like, first commitment, it was like I was in my head again. And I got to the wall, and as I said to Ben at the top of the wall, I visualised everything perfectly. That was the truth. But I didn't visualise getting my foot wet. So I went to run up the wall, and my foot slipped. I was like, "Oh God, no!" No. And Nigel was catching up as well, and I was like, "Oh God."
So it looked for all the world like you intended to stop at the base of the wall and wait for him so you could go together. And I was waiting for that, going, "Oh, are they going to do it?" That would have been amazing. So when you went up, I was like, "Oh, okay." But it was so sweet. I mean, you seemed to push the buzzer seconds before Nigel was at the top of the wall, and it was, I don't know about from yours and Cammy's point of view, Ben, but watching it at home, it was one of the nicest moments I've ever seen, because it was, again, that pure camaraderie that I think this ninja sport gives people.
You can see that.
Magical.
Yeah, I mean, we're lucky enough to be able to go backstage and see everybody warming up and get to know you guys over the years and see you all together and stuff. And there's that an amazing sense of team spirit. Everybody wants, obviously we've engineered racing this year between the competitors, But really, it is you against the course in your own way. You all want to do as best you can, but it's you. You get in your own heads, which is why you make mistakes rather than the competitor next to you. That's just driving you forward, and that's what's really, really awesome. I think it's the awesome thing about sort of all the different ages of people, the different experiences of people, like Danny coming from a more rugby background or Nigel from his climbing background. And of course, at the end of the day, you still want to win the race. You're all competitive. You're competitive with yourselves. You're competitive with the others. So Danny slipping on the wall was like, it's one of those moments where you just think, goodness me, what's going to happen here? But, he got up the wall and he had to hit the top. But it was brilliant because, it just goes to show, I think it was that's the one obstacle you can make a mistake on, right? It's the one obstacle on the course where you can make a mistake and you've got another go at it. And actually, it's brilliant from a TV perspective, terrifying from your perspective, Danny, because you can walk up the wall with your eyes closed usually. But suddenly you've got a wet foot and it slipped first time. It's going to slip second time. Nigel's catching up with me. Am I even going to get up this wall? I mean, I don't know where we are in the series, but, when you see one of the elite ninjas fail on a wall, you understand actually that it's not just as simple as we all assume it is. Like I threw it away earlier. Once you've done it once, you feel like you can do it all the time. Because in that environment, under that sort of pressure, anything could go wrong.
We were talking to Ruel last week, and he was talking about that exactly. So from the pro elite's point of view, about obviously what we don't see on TV is they've run multiple races and they've got the fatigue and the sort of anxiety, right? And he said there comes a point where for him, he was very much sounds like you, Henry. He's going, I can't be that pro elite that goes in the water. And there I am swimming going, fantastic. Look at me. I'm the pro. But it's sport, isn't it? And it's in that moment what can happen, which sort of neatly segues, Alix, into you and the wonderful Bartley Sackett. Because I know you had 2 ninjas, wasn't it? Or 3 that you said, if you could, they were who you'd like to race against. Was that right?
I was one of the ninjas in the position that knew all the pros, or more or less all the pros. The only pro I didn't know personally was Lynn, the parkour girl. All the others, I've known them, I've competed with them, I've met them over the years, and some of them I've even raced them on similar courses. So I've never actually competed against Bartley. So she was actually my favorite. She was the person I did want to race, but I don't know, some of the audience might not have caught on to the fact that the athletes do not know who they're racing, while the pro elite know. I gather the night before, Ben might be able to confirm that, but they know long before the race.
No, actually, Alix, Ruel saying on the day, he said he got uncomfortable. Yeah, because he was saying last week, funnily enough, that there were a couple of occasions where athletes were coming at him going, oh, any insider information? Dean Jeter was one. Do you know who I'm racing? And couldn't say, so maybe.
But they do know on the day who they're racing.
Oh, yeah.
And they're separated from the athletes by a curtain. Yeah. So they're all waiting behind this curtain, and then one of them steps out when you're on the steps. So when you're on the top of the steps, you have no idea. Bartley has known for hours who she's going to race, just to get that straight. Well, I was quite anxious because I don't know why, but I really, really wanted Bartley. That was my favorite choice, and there she was. And different to Nigel and Danny, our entrance was shown, just shortened, because Bartley did not just come out and stand there and say nothing. She came straight over. We gave each other a hug. And I'm sure ITV had to cut this hug a little because it took longer than our run. And I said to Bartley, I'm not going. And she went, I think it's time we went. She's really, really lovely. She really knows that I suffer from nerves. She knows what I'm capable of on one hand, but she also knows that I give under pressure. And people that have watched my ninja career know, and even Henry knows from his simple competition in the gym, there's no way of getting Alix going, is there? It's, Alix, are you ready? And I go, no,
I'm not ready.
Not yet. And it's unfortunately the same on the show. So there's Bartley pushing me down the steps. No, she didn't do that. But And then once the race started, I knew Barclay was good. I had seen her on the upright poles before. I knew she was going to fly across them. I know she looks small, and in general, I go, a smaller competitor is better because they're not as good. That does not apply to Barclay.
He's amazing.
So, how did my run go? I took off nicely. Everything was going well. Shrinking steps. Then we were swinging. I was swinging on the. I can't remember what they were called. The little wheels.
Yes.
And I already had this plan. I'm gonna not dismount them on the first go. I'm gonna go for the biggest swing possible, so I'm nicely forward on the platform, because that's the moment the Ninja gets released. So far, the race was going well, and then on the next obstacle was the transfer to cargo net. And unfortunately, all my Ninja experience went out the window. I knew Barclay was released. So the plan was I kicked forward hard once and I jump on the second go. By that time, Barclay would be close behind. Unfortunately, as I swing forward, it starts rotating. And although I know don't resist the rotation, kick back the other way, what did I do? I was holding against the rotation, came at a funny angle. And on my second swing, I thought all dignity had gone, and I caught that net with my feet very badly too. And within seconds, Barclay was coming up behind me. But I think Barclay was under similar pressure to me. She knew what I was capable of. I know what she's capable of. And Barclay decided she'll go for the first jump.
Yeah, and that was a big jump she went for as well. I mean, at least looked at it on screen. It was huge. And again, was it fingertips? Did she tell you? She not only went on the first jump. I think she was going for low as well, to cut out the climb on the net, which is a slow process. So she jumped very low down on the net, and she just about missed it. I just say, if the tables were turned and I had been the pro chasing her, I think the end result might have been exactly the same. Yeah.
As in, it's always easy to say, oh yeah, you would have taken a second swing. If I was the pro in chasing, I would have behaved in a very different manner. As I'm the person being chased, I'm more interested in getting to the buzzer, because that potentially gets me to the next round in a safer way than going all out. Yeah, right. And how did you feel once you realised she'd gone in? I couldn't believe it. Oh, really? I couldn't really believe. I was like, it splashed. It definitely splashed. That's all I saw, because I was in this unfortunate position. I was swinging back after I came loose off the net. So then I stuck my feet through the net again instead of jumping, because I wanted, dare I say it, I wanted to look down to confirm that was the truth. Because I could not believe that Barclay had gone in there, because she's just outstanding. She's just amazing. So once she was in there and my feet were in the net, I lost all dignity. And I hope I redeemed myself on the other 3 obstacles after, where I looked hopefully a bit better than when I had my feet through the net trying to get a sneaky look down, because it just my brain couldn't process she's actually fallen in. Because I know she's just I was quite prepared for her to kind of pass me, really, if I was honest. Yeah. Well, once I swung back, I thought I had it. Now your interviews were astonishing. Your first interview, you looked like a seasoned pro. Oh. And then your second interview, there was definitely a bit of back and forth with a microphone going on. That did make me chuckle. Yeah. If you rewatch my 2 runs, I went up to Ben and he offered me this microphone, or at least that's how I read the signs. And after my first race, I snatched it off him. So when I came up the wall again, when he gave me a hug, I said, Ben, I will not do this again. I will not touch the microphone. And as soon as he held it in my direction, my hand went on that microphone. And then you see me laughing my head off, because I let it go, because I do remember the microphone is Ben's. Sorry, Ben, I do apologise. Do make me chuckle.
It's the funniest thing that it happened a couple of times, and a few people sort of take it off. And the reason I'm holding it towards you is because I know how close it's got to be for you, for the sound guys. They'll be going, hold it a bit closer, move it a bit further away. And it's so funny when someone takes it off you, because I will hold on to it for a bit just to try and dissuade them. Not hard enough. Not enough strength. Because you were really insistent, Alex. Like, I was holding on to it for a bit, going, okay, I'm not going to fight you. You're the ninja here. You can have the microphone. Do what you like. But you weren't the only one that did it. A bit of microphone wrestling. I think, after you've completed the course like that and you've beaten your ninja, you can do what you like.
No. And Danny, go on,
Yes.
what were you going to say?
Ben, I did redeem myself though by letting it go the second time.
You did, yeah, much better than
Behave. So, Danny, how about you? You beat the course. You know you're going to race a pro. So, how did that then feel for you?
I was just looking forward to the pro, like full stop.
Yeah.
Like, again, I'm not just saying it. Again, I pictured Tim. Like, I've admired Tim for a very long time. I was drawn to him. I was like, fantastic.
Yeah.
This is great. So, I was super excited.
And talk to me about that experience because, I mean, and I'm sure Ben will attest to this, Tim is something else, isn't he? He makes fluid just look like, I don't know. People say they want to fly when they're a ninja. He looks like he floats.
He's an alien.
Yeah. So you want to race him?
I'd agree with that. Yeah. He's not from this planet.
No.
We watched them all, and all of them, Ruel or Joe or Isaac, who was incredible as well. I mean, I don't know if you guys knew Isaac, but Isaac absolutely blew me away. This tiny speed climber was just sensational.
Incredible.
And the girls too. And as you've said, Monty, they were doing more than one race in the evening. And we could see who was racing and how often they were going to have to race. And you kind of get to Tim and you just think it doesn't matter. He will win 5 or 6 times because the mental challenge for whoever he's up against is always horrendous because you know he's going to catch you. So maybe on one hand, that's quite good, Danny. I mean, maybe you can test it because look, my expectation when I'm racing Tim Champion is Tim Champion's going to beat me. That's fine. It's a privilege to go alongside, see how long I can stay alongside him. And then let me just see if I can complete the course, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know why, but I genuinely didn't feel any pressure from Tim. And the moment I went straight out of that starting block, I was, again, like Nigel, I was just having fun. And I remember, it was mad. I remember getting to the poles and I could just see Tim. And I was like, where on earth did this alien come from? I was just enjoying it. He was there. And that's when you see me start picking up speed. And I was like, got to keep up with him. And I remember the couple of races before, like the pros were like a couple of obstacles ahead. And I thought, I can't let him get a couple of obstacles ahead. And then he started turning up the pressure. He was just having fun. He wasn't even trying. He wasn't even trying. And the slip on the wing nut was just, I wish I just didn't, so I could carry on being alongside him because it was just the most fun thing in the world, being alongside Tim.
I think to be fair to you though, Danny, I think that he makes it look like he's not trying, but he really is. You can't do that course without having to give it 100% because as soon as you don't give it 100%, something goes wrong. And he knows every time he hits the course, there's a lot of pressure because he's the only person in ninja history to take on Mount Midoriyama, and he completed it, obviously. So there's a lot of respect and credibility that comes with that. But when he stands on, I mean, his name, for God's sake, he's actually named champion.
Tim Champion.
So I think you're being harsh on yourself to say that he wasn't even trying, because he really was, because he wants to prove every time he goes on the course. He's just got this steely calm about him. Well, like you say, Danny, he's not human. He's come from planet Moon. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he definitely has, and I don't think I've met a person that says that. But now, I know I've got you in front of me, but only because I would love to have had him here, but he would find it difficult. And Ben, I think you know who I'm going to talk about now, but Victor Mikhailov, the ninja sculptor, right? We've all had the pleasure, I think all of us have trained with him at least once, at least I think we have. Henry trains with you all the time.
Lives there now. He's got a bed. He's upstairs sleeping.
Is he? Oh, man.
Are you sure he's sleeping and not training?
Yeah,
I have to kick him out. I literally have to drag him off the obstacles to get away. Like, Victor, I want to go home.
He's another robot, though. And I know in the show it looked a bit different, but when I've seen him train, again, he's like you just said about Tim, man. He does things that I could never imagine seeing anyone do when they're on a course.
Can I just tell you? Let me tell you something about Victor, right? So, if you think about Victor, so there's a few of the competitors like this. You guys I know, so I can come and say hello. And I know Kammy's seen a lot of your openings of the ninja gyms and all that sort of stuff. And he's gone, oh, Henry's in great shape. Shit, he's the one. Henry's my top tip this year. Don't curse him, Kammy. Anyway, Victor comes on, and I've gone. And he's gone, I was chatting to Victor beforehand. We're just chatting to Victor beforehand in the toilets. He's really confident. He's really up for this. Oh, brilliant. Okay, great. So, and I didn't know anything about Victor, right? I didn't know, I knew Victor wasn't English, but I didn't know how was it. But I've had a chat with Kammy. So I'm expecting Victor to be pretty good at English because he's had a chat with Kammy. He's told me they've had a conversation. So then I go to interview Victor, and it becomes very apparent very quickly that Victor's an amazing ninjaist, but his English isn't particularly strong, which is absolutely fine. It doesn't matter. So we do this interview, and he's got a few fans in the crowd. And anyway, we've got Victor, and he's brilliant. He goes away, and I turned around and I went, did you really speak to him? I said, yeah. Did you know he can't speak English? No, I didn't realise. So he's had a conversation in the toilets with Victor and had no idea, like neither of them would have had a clue what either of them was saying. He just had a really good chat with him in the loo. What were you talking about? I don't know. I didn't know what you were saying. I mean, that's good intel for me. If you can tell me that, okay, his English isn't great, so be slow with the questions or make it really straightforward. It's like, why didn't you tell me? I didn't know he could.
Oh, bless Kammy, that's amazing. Yeah. Oh, it was a great interview there, Ben. I'll give you that. That took all your interview skills to get that out because you can tell that Victor's having to process quite a lot.
Yes.
Whoever edited that needs a raise. That was like on TV. That looks seamless.
Yeah, honestly, no, but that's the point, right? So he's managing all of that. He's managing the anxiety, the pressure, the nerves, the drama, the trauma, the scale of it, the TV cameras, and then I'm going to go and speak to him and just chat to him. Because Kammy had a chat with you in the loo, so I'm just going to throw questions at you, expecting you to understand what I'm saying. Do you know what I mean? My heart went out to him, and I was like, oh man, okay, Victor, let me slow down a little bit and make this a bit easier for you because you've just completed this course. You've done a brilliant job. But what a great character, wow.
He is, and what I loved at the end of that interview was I wasn't sure whether it was lack of understanding or a bit of sort of self-deprecation when he said, do you think you could beat the pro ninja? And he just looked, he could have been either because he went, I don't know. I don't know what you said. I don't know.
I was speaking to Victor yesterday, and he said, at the end, what did Ben ask me? When Joe was saying you can do it, what did Ben ask me?
Oh, there you go.
I didn't understand at all.
Another reason you don't do Kammy to do your research chats for you in the toilet before you go on.
Do you know what? I can tell you this. When I was on years ago, I met Kammy in the toilet in full costume, as I was a jester at the time. And the only thing he said to me was, what have you come as?
Yes.
Well, I think the clue's in the hat and the bells. And when I told him, he looked at me square in the eyes and went, no hope, mate, and walked off. So, oh, thanks very much. That's just charming. So, his toilet intel is a bit shaky, I'll be fair.
Yeah, very poor. Very, very
now,
poor.
Listen, folks, I would love to talk all night, but we've gone way beyond the realms of what this podcast should be, and I'm going to get told off. So I'm going to briefly touch on a couple of things here. You all mentioned training. You've all mentioned the ninja parks. Henry, this is your 2 minutes. 6th of November, HC Fit, British Obstacle Sport in collaboration. What's going on?
6th of November. So those that know me know that I run the ninja competitions. I'm hoping for this one to be the biggest one we've ever had. I've already got some absolutely amazing, incredible ninjas coming along. It's going to be 3 courses. Furthest, fastest format is going to be very similar to the show, apart from no side-by-side races, just you against the course. It's going to be really exciting. I've got some really, 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 really fun tricks up my sleeve for you guys. It's going to be interesting. I'll see Alix's face there.
I hope Victor is not the course setter or tester because we're doomed.
Not even going to be allowed to see the course. So it's going to be so exciting. We're now affiliated. This is going to be like the kick-off competition for British Obstacle Sports. It's going to be the first official championship, the British Championship of British Obstacle Sports.
Awesome.
So we're also, for the first time ever, crowning a male and a female champion. So 2 winners, and a cash prize is going to be £250
wow.
for the male winner
come
and
on.
the female winner. So you can win your money back and buy a few pints for me afterwards as well. Brilliant. It's going to be an absolutely incredible event. I really can't wait. I've had this is the most girls I would have ever had at a competition, and it's looking like it's going to be the most people I've ever had at a competition.
Well, listen, everybody, thank you so much for joining me. I know it's late in the evening for you. I really appreciate your time. Ben, particularly, thank you. I know you've got a really busy schedule, so it's really great of you just to do this. And if nothing, it really cements again for anyone that watches the TV show, and everyone I interview says this, just how genuinely passionate you are about this as a sport, just how committed you are, not just to the show, but to all of the athletes. So I think I know I speak for me and a lot of other people who aren't here, but these guys as well. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for always being so positive. It is so appreciated, Ben. Really, really is.
Thank you, Monty. It's really lovely to see you all. I'm really excited that the public is going to get to see the show. They're seeing you all, smashing it as well. It's a privilege for us to be a part of it and to be there. I just, I want you all to sort of get the most you can possibly get from it. And Henry, good luck with the competition. That sounds absolutely awesome.
Yeah, it will be. And listen, Alix and Nigel and Danny and Henry, you made for incredible TV on a Saturday night. It was a phenomenal episode. Genuinely, I grinned from ear to ear, and I think I'm smiling about as much now. So thank you to everyone watching. I defy you not to have enjoyed that episode. That was phenomenal. And I look forward to next week's episode as the series progresses. At the end of the podcast, we'll put up the tables that we showed you last week so you can actually see exactly what's going on, who stands where, who's progressing. But for now, this has been the NinjaSport UK podcast. Thank you very much for watching and listening. We will see you all next week. Take care. Goodbye. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Cheers,
Love
Cheers,
you
boys.
all. Great to see you. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the NinjaSport UK podcast. Remember, the next episode of Ninja Warrior UK Race for Glory is on Saturday, 5:30 p.m, ITV1 and on ITV Hub. If you like what UKOCR are doing, please consider supporting them on Patreon. Until then, thanks for listening and see you next week.